Both Kamaru Usman and Joaquin Buckley are under the delusion that they would beat Islam Makhachev in a 170-pound title fight. There's a few assumptions in that notion. First, they're assuming Islam becomes the welterweight champion of the world. And second, they're both assuming they win this fight. While Joaquin Buckley is younger, faster, and a considerable favorite here, Kamaru Usman is still one of the all-time greats at this weight class, and there might be the life left in that body. My name is Angelo. This is We Want Picks, and I'm going to break down the entire UFC Atlanta fight card, giving you my picks, predictions, and DraftKings Fantasy Plays. But before we do that, let me spend 10 seconds to plug the website. All the work that we put in, everything that we have built, let me spend 10 seconds to plug it. 10's going to be like a minute. The website has all sorts of tools and insight. I'm about to give you my insight, my personal insight. But if you want tools, data, metrics, you want a machine to do some decision making for you, we've got a couple of them. One of them is called the Event Simulator. The Event Simulator takes every single fight on the card. It simulates those fights 100,000 times, and then it spits the results at you. Once you have those results, not only will you see who won, who lost in those simulations, you can see how many DraftKings fantasy points they're scoring in those simulations. For example, Kamaru Usman across those 100,000 simulations is expected on average to score 54 DraftKings fantasy points. That's on average. This is expecting him to lose. Obviously, if it's expecting him to win, which is what this green line is, well, now all of a sudden, he's getting 95 points. You get the idea here. You can then take all of those results, click a few more buttons, it'll build DraftKings fantasy lineups for you. We have a tool called the DraftKings Optimizer. This will build lineups for you. A couple clicks of the button, it'll spit out a lineup. If you know what you're doing, you can make some adjustments. If you don't know what you're doing, click the beginner mode, and that'll do all the work for you. These two tools help you build lineups, and in fact, they will build them for you. This third tool is a look back. If we take a look back at UFC 316, here is the winning DraftKings lineup. This is the perfect lineup. This was the moneymaker. It was Ju Sang Yu, Josh Van, Merab Dvalishvili, Mario Batista, Andreas Gustafsson, and Bruno Silva. And if we scroll our way down, we can see what that optimal lineup was, the salary for each person, how many points they scored. Oddly enough, Bruno Silva is in that lineup. He only scored 35 points. And we had quite a few people actually use that lineup. Guys, every single thing I just mentioned, 40 other things I didn't mention. It's only $10 for an entire month. It's one package. No upsell, no cross-sell, no bullshit, no unlock this, unlock that. $10, you get all of it instantly. Check it out at WeWantPicks.com. Let's go ahead and break down this card. I'm going to do this break. I promise I'm going to do this quick. No nonsense, no lollygagging. I promise I'm going to do this quick. I got to do the intro, right? The website is what keeps the lights on. Without the website, without the premium members, this whole thing goes away. So the website keeps the lights. I got to plug the website. What I also got to do is race through this. I'm going to do this nice and quick. I already broke it down on Sunday. I broke it down with Jacob, literally about 5 hours. Let's go ahead and rip through this one. We're going to open up the UFC Atlanta fight card with Jamey Horth and Vanessa Demopoulos. Jamey Horth is gigantic. She's massive. She's tremendous for this weight class, relatively speaking. She's a busy striker. She's got good power. She'll drag you to the ground. She'll shoot some takedowns. She can do all of the things. Is she unbeatable? No. She just lost to Miranda Maverick, but she made that fight close. She stole around in that fight because she was able to keep it standing. She got her own takedown in the mix. Ultimately, the takedown defense did fail her right smack in the middle of the cage. Good striker, big as shit, can get some takedowns. Taking on Vanessa Demopoulos. Vanessa Demopoulos is a tale of two careers. Early on, she's winning decisions she probably shouldn't have won. Got a couple of gift decisions. The judges did her a favor or two. And now that karma's catching up to her. She got submitted by Jacqueline Amorim in a controversial glove grab. A Toledo Alencar fight, it was one-sided. She had no success in that fight whatsoever. Very one-sided fight. She is stepping up on short notice in this matchup. She's also tiny at 5'2". She's a busy striker, no real power. She's got okay jiu-jitsu if she's on top. I don't imagine there's going to be any success on the Demopoulos side. She's not going to get a takedown. She's not going to land a ton. I think she'll be busy. She'll get in Jamey's face. Jamey's just going to bully her, big sister her, push her up against the cage, probably throw her to the ground. I also don't think there's a finish, so I don't think Jamey's worth her very high salary. DraftKings salaries are an indication of if they think the fighter is going to win or not necessarily the amount of points they're going to score. So I think Jamey Lynn Horth wins this fight 92 out of 100 times, but I don't think she scores a lot of points. So Jamey Lynn Horth is not going to be in my lineup. Neither will Vanessa, because I don't think she wins or has much success at all. Then we have Angelo and Phil Rowe. Angelo is a busy in-your-face striker. He's got decent power. He's fast. He's athletic. He hits hard. He's got good volume. He also has a brick for a head, so you can touch him up. You can hit him the entire fight, and he's not going to go anywhere. Lately, he's been adding some takedowns to the mix. He just lost to Gabriel Bonfim. He had 4 takedowns in that fight. He had 6 against Reese McGee, 2 against AJ Fletcher, who is a very good wrestler. Angelo can do all the things. He hasn't had the amount of success that you would expect him to have, given his skill set, but he can win, and he has won a considerable amount in the past. He's an affordable $8,400. If we look at his scores, we got to look at the wins, obviously, 115, 124, because these are fights where he gets the takedowns going, he gets his hands going, and he has high volume on all fronts. In his last fight, he scored 47 points in a loss, and that's because while he did have 4 takedowns, he was completely outstruck, but the Bonfim brothers are pretty solid. He's taking on Phil Rowe. Phil Rowe is a long, rangy striker. He uses that length. He's like 6'3" at this weight class. He uses that length to try to keep you at bay. He used to be a high-volume guy. He trusted his hands, would let him go. Now he's pretty low volume. It's like jab, jab. Let me think about it. Maybe a right. Oh, he's also clinching people against the cage for no reason whatsoever. He's been getting stuck in the mud, frozen in time. He hasn't been who he used to be, and I don't think this fight is any different. I think Angelo's ability to have fast hands and transition the takedowns is going to have Phil a step behind. I think Phil's going to be too worried about everything and in fact do nothing because of it. I think Angelo wins. I think $8,400 is a good price to spend because I think he will mix in the striking and the takedowns. Then we have Ricky Simone taking on Cameron Smotherman, and we're getting a great price on Ricky here because Ricky Simone is $8,700. That's because he was supposed to fight Charles Jourdain. And while he was a favorite in that fight, it's nothing like what he is now. Ricky Simone is basically Merab, just not as good, right? He's got nonstop forward pressure and takedowns, but his cardio is not as good. The pressure slows down. He's got good power in his hands, so he's definitely a more powerful striker than Merab is, and he'll let his hands go. So he'll come forward, he'll shoot some takedowns, he'll push the pace, he will slow down as the fight goes on, but there's some early power, and there's a lot of transitions there. His takedown accuracy is not the best, but the reality is Ricky Simone can put in some time, can get the takedowns and make people work. He had a takedown in his last fight. He's got takedowns in basically every single fight, and in this last fight, we were already, okay, oh, I'm going to do this fast, and then my fucking tongue is too big for my mouth. We were reminded about his power in that last fight when he one-punched Javid Bajrat. He's taking on short notice step-up Cameron Smotherman. Cameron Smotherman's had 3 fights under the umbrella, right? The Contender Series fights, that's not the UFC. It's in the UFC Octagon, it's in the Apex, but it's not the UFC. It is quite literally a separate promotion with a separate contract. But let's call it under the UFC umbrella. He's had 3 fights, 2 losses. He was knocked out. He was decisioned. But he does have that win over Jake Hadley, and that win over Jake Hadley was spectacular. We saw the composure. We saw the defense. We saw the volume in Jake Hadley's face. And that fight, we were like, damn, Cameron Smotherman is good. Then he came out here against Siri Saidi. He was an underdog, but we thought he was a good underdog, and he really didn't get it going. He was taken down 4 times in that fight. And while he had some volume, it's not as much as you would have hoped. And Cameron Smotherman is good. He is a prospect. But my basically to the point breakdown here is that while Cameron has a lot of upside and a lot of potential, and he might be a little scrappy in this fight, he might make it closer than people think, he can be taken down. We have seen him knocked out. Ricky Simone can do both of those things. He can knock you out and he can take you down. Obviously, Siri Saidi taking you down is a little more surprising than Ricky. You know exactly what Ricky's going to do, so you'll be a little more prepared. But a short notice, Cameron Smotherman, I don't think he'll have the success. Ricky is the pick, and I think at that price point, you got to do it. Because let's look at Cameron's salary, $6,500. That's like the other side of that should be well over $9,000, but instead we've got Ricky in the mid-tier 8s. So I'm going to have Ricky in my lineup, and I think you kind of have to given the value. Then we have Jose Ochoa, and he's taking on Cody Durden. Jose Ochoa is one of these guys that had a nice outing in a debut loss. It was a short notice UFC debut against Loner Kavanaugh. 2 rounds of that fight, he did almost nothing. But that second round, we saw the speed, we saw the power. He turned Kavanaugh into a wrestler because the hands were doing so well. And that's what Jose is. He's a well-rounded guy. He's happy to slug it out. He could work in some offensive takedowns on the regional scene. Obviously, we haven't seen it here yet in the UFC. Takedown defense seems okay because instead of just pitter-patter bullshit, he'll stuff the head and he'll work his way out. Jose Ochoa is a prospect, okay? And at one point in time, people were like, he's good. And he lost that UFC debut, and now he's the favorite. But the reality is he has not won yet at this level. He is put in a somewhat favorable position here because Cody Durden, while he does have success in the UFC, is a bit chinny, and for some reason his cardio isn't what it used to be. We used to be able to rely on Cody Durden to shoot 1,000,000 takedowns and transition and work his ass off. We can't rely on that anymore. He's been slowing down. His takedowns have kind of sucked. His cardio has kind of sucked. So Cody Durden hasn't been who we've wanted him to be recently, but he's still tough as hell, and I still think he can win this fight. I will trust a Cody Durden at home, and I don't know if he lives in Atlanta, but close enough, at home over an unproven prospect who hasn't won yet in an octagon. So I'm going to go with Cody Durden here, and when you're building DraftKings fantasy lineups, you need underdogs. I think he can get the takedowns. He took Josh Van down twice. He scored 45 points in that loss. In the beginning of this video, I showed you the postmortem. This is the perfect lineup. This was the winning $100,000 lineup in DraftKings Fantasy, and it had a 35-point Bruno Silva. You need underdogs in your lineup, and if I'm looking at dogs on this card at this price point, somebody who wrestles, and obviously wrestling scores very high in DraftKings Fantasy, I think Cody Durden makes some sense. I'm going to shoot my shot. I will throw him in my lineup. Then we have Malcolm Wellmaker versus Kris Moutinho. Conventional wisdom will tell you, even if Malcolm Wellmaker was 4,000 points, you should spend that money. The reality is he scored 102 points in his last fight. He's $9,800. So yes, 102 is great. And frankly, you should have him in your lineup. This might be a weird situation where we're expecting an early, quick, insanely powerful knockout, but we end up with like a weird, slow fight. Kris Moutinho's not stupid. I mean, he might be half brain dead after some of the beatings he's taken, but he understands what's on the other side of the octagon. Malcolm Wellmaker is lightning fast. He hits as hard as shit. He's coming off 2 big-time knockouts in a row. Both of them were counters. They weren't even his power hand. Just whoop, whoop. Quick counters, putting people out. Malcolm Wellmaker is lightning fast, hits hard as hell, and he is going to be a very dangerous guy in the future. He's taking on Kris Moutinho. Kris Moutinho is a human punching bag, and a lot of people are remembering Kris for his toughness. He was finished in the O'Malley fight. Yeah, it was a late finish, and he absorbed 230 strikes. 177 of those strikes went straight to his head, so that's not great for his long-term health. But the reality is Kris Moutinho is very hittable. Kris Moutinho's not that durable. Guido Canetti smoked him. O'Malley eventually finished him. I think Kris Moutinho does more of the same. We just need it early. If it's late, that's a problem. If Kris Moutinho uses what's left of those brain cells and starts shooting takedowns, I don't know if he'll get the takedowns, but he could slow the pace. He can lean on Malcolm against the cage. And all of a sudden, we'll get 88 points out of Malcolm Wellmaker instead of over 100, which is what we're going to need here. Wellmaker's obviously the pick. No two bones about it. And honestly, I think he should be in a lineup or two. Then we have Michael Chiesa taking on Court McGee, a battle of the olds. Both these guys are 2-3 in their last 5. Both of them are old. Both of them have had some success, right? Some peaks, some valleys. And they both have similar styles. They're looking to grind forward and get it to the ground. I personally feel Court McGee's the more well-rounded of the two, but Michael Chiesa is probably a little bit better everywhere. He's also 37 to Court's 40. Both of them old. Too old to really be competing at a very high level, but Michael Chiesa is going to be looking to come forward, grind the fight to the ground, and work from there. He just submitted Max Griffin. Before that, he submitted a 275-year-old Tony Ferguson. He lost to Kevin Holland. He lost to Sean Brady. He lost to Vicente Luque. Keep in mind, though, Brady, where he is now, is incredible, and this was Vicente Luque when he was still good, and Michael Chiesa was doing really well, literally slipped off his back and then ended up screwing himself there. Michael Chiesa is understandably a very smart, high IQ fighter, which is why they have him on the analyst desk. He's taking on Court McGee. Court McGee is a guy that has earned everything he has. He is not naturally athletic. He's not fast. He's not big. He has worked for everything he has. He's got great strength. He's got pretty solid, not the best, but pretty solid durability. And he's a grinder. He is a proven grinder who all he does is work his ass off and try to improve his career. So while Michael Chiesa is flying to and from Las Vegas to do the desk work, Court McGee is just grinding in a gym somewhere. And because of that fact, I think Court McGee can straight up win this fight outright. And if we look at Court McGee's record here, he's lost to some of the best, but he's beaten some good people as well. This win over Tim Means, he just neck cranked, squeezed that dude's face. Just raw plumber strength. He loses to Alex Morono in the decision. Fine. A lot of people thought that was a very close fight that could have potentially gone Court's way. And then obviously he got finished by Brown and Wells, two insanely fast, insanely powerful strikers. He beats Ramiz Brahimaj. He beats Silva. Like, Court McGee's got some good wins in the career, and I think he can grind forward and get it done. I think $7,000 when you're going to spend $9,800 on Wellmaker, I think that could be money well spent. Then we have Paul Craig and Rodolfo Bellato. This is a fight that has been booked more than once, and hopefully it actually ends up happening now. Last time it didn't happen because Rodolfo Bellato, this beautiful, handsome gentleman with the unbelievable jawline, had herpes. Open herpes on his mouth, and because of those herpes, he wasn't able to fight. The herpes have now subsided, so now the fight is going to continue. Rodolfo should win this fight. $9,300 is a lot of money to spend, but Rodolfo is basically a grappler with some power. He's going to move forward. He's going to bomb away. He's going to look to get this fight to the ground. On the ground, though, is going to be a little tricky because it's Paul Craig. Paul Craig is a never-say-die grappler. And now he does die pretty often, actually. Kyle Barallo finished him. Muniz finished him. Allen finished him. Walker finished him. So he does get finished like a shit ton. But when I say never say die, he's not going to quit. His body will just give out. And if you take him down, you could be an idiot about it and end up getting submitted, like Nikita Krylov. Nikita Krylov was winning that fight, took Paul Craig down just out of instinct, and then was submitted on the ground. I don't think that happens here. I think Rodolfo Bellato comes forward, beats on Paul Craig, probably finds a finish. If you want to throw Bellato in your lineup, I don't think it's crazy. I mean, you have to look at both sides. While Rodolfo Bellato isn't a wild finisher yet, his opponent has been finished in almost every single loss. Almost. So I got to go Bellato here. And I may or may not spend that money. Then we have Oumar Sy taking on Alonzo Menifield. Alonzo Menifield is a guy that we've relied on in the past. Last time he fought, I put all sorts of money on the guy. But this is a different fight because he's taking on Oumar Sy. Oumar Sy is an absolute beast. He's an undefeated prospect. He's a massive dude. He is French. Okay, that dramatic pause is like, we know about these French fighters, okay? What about, William Gomez? What happened to that bum in his last fight? So Oumar Sy is French, and he might show up and be an unreliable Frenchman. If you're French and you're watching this, I'm sorry. Not every country is designed. Listen, India is the most populated country on planet Earth. The most populated country on planet Earth. They have almost no success in the UFC. And that's just because culturally, they're not a violent country. Americans are violent. We are a violent people, which is why America has so many champions. The French, you got Georges St. Pierre, he's not even French, he's Canadian. Oumar Sy is giant. He's fast. He's athletic. He hits hard. He'll pick you up. He'll slam you down. He absolutely should, 100% should win this fight. But if we take a look at his last fight, he wasn't able to finish Jung. He had a couple of takedowns. He was perfectly comfortable winning a striking match, and he only scored 83 points. And this could look similar because while Alonzo Menifield is getting up there in age, Alonzo Menifield's still a pretty tough guy, a pretty durable guy. He's not a quitter. And yeah, he got knocked out by Mirzakhanov. We know what an absolute savage he is. He got knocked out by Uberg. We know what an absolute savage he is as well. Uberg's probably knocking on the door of the title fight. Both of these men are on wild win streaks right now. So Alonzo Menifield is a powerful, heavy-handed striker with very good takedown defense and veteran savvy. The reason I am so confident in Oumar, though, is because this Walker fight, Julius Walker steps up on short notice. Short notice. And Alonzo only scores 71 points against a short-notice UFC debut who was just a glorified regional guy. And Alonzo slowed down. His arms were getting heavy. That power was long gone. I don't think Alonzo wins this fight, but I don't necessarily think Oumar is going to be able to finish him. So I'm not going to have Oumar in my lineup despite being confident in him to win. Then we have Cody Brundage taking on Mansour Abdul Malik. Oh, This is Cody Garbrandt. There's 3 Codys on this card. Cody Garbrandt is fighting Hani Barcelos. We'll talk about him in a second. Cody Brundage, Cody Garbrandt, damn it. Well, now I got to do the trifecta. Cody, what was the other one? Durden. All right, anyway. Cody Garbrandt. Former world champion, as we all know. At one point in time, one of the best bantamweights on the planet. Incredible footwork, great hand speed, good power. He can wrestle. He's got takedown defense. Cody Garbrandt's a very good, well-rounded fighter. But once he got knocked out that first time, his career took a very steep fall off. A fall from grace. The chin was gone. He would get overly aggressive, and then he would get slumped. Like that kid on TikTok that's like, somehow knocks himself out. It's actually incredible what that kid can do with his body. He's also from Connecticut, so. Cody Garbrandt can absolutely win this fight. $7,700. I'm not going to spend it. I trust Cody, with not Brundage, Cody Durden. I trust Cody Durden more. I trust bearded dude, used to be a drug addict, isn't anymore. The old guy. Let me scroll up. Court McGee. I trust Court McGee more, but I do think Cody Garbrandt can win this fight because all he needs to do to win this fight is defend takedowns. He's taking on Hani Barcelos. Hani Barcelos is a 5-time Brazilian national champion wrestler. And while Brazil isn't America when it comes to wrestling, it's still a pretty populated country that enjoys their combat sports. So there is some solid wrestling. Hani Barcelos can wrestle, and we saw it in his last fight. He had 8 takedowns against Peyton Talbot. His price was $6,300. Peyton Talbot was a minus 1,200 favorite, and Hani Barcelos won a pretty straightforward fight. And that's because Peyton struggled with the takedowns. I see that more as Peyton being a cocky young kid who didn't do what he needed to do to prepare for that fight. I think Cody Garbrandt should be able to defend the takedowns, or at least a good amount of them, get his hands going. We are in the era of not giving a shit about wrestling. Nobody cares about wrestling anymore. The judges don't. The fans don't. Nobody gives a shit about empty wrestling. You take somebody down and it's Elbow City, sure. But if you're just taking people down, they pop up, you take them down again, nobody gives a fuck. It means nothing to nobody. DraftKings actually still cares. 5 points a takedown. But nobody cares. And for that reason, for the fact that Hani Barcelos is not dangerous on top, he doesn't have power in his hands, I think Cody Garbrandt can win this fight. I don't trust him as much as I do some of the other dogs, so not going to spend the money. While editing this video, I realized I never broke down the Cody Brundage fight. I guess when I was stumbling and fumbling over which Cody I was even talking about, I missed one entirely. The reality of this fight is that Cody Brundage has a reputation for being a quitter. He has a reputation for being 3 minutes of glory and then fading out. But the reality, the true reality, if you zoom out, Cody Brundage is a good fighter. He is dangerous, he's got power in his hands, and he is a good wrestler. Yes, he's had a couple of questionable wins, like the Jacob Mulcoon one, like the back of the head no contest. But he does have skills. There's power in his hands. He has wrestled at a very high level. You can tell he's a good fighter. Even in that Bo Nickel fight, A, it went way longer than people thought it would go, and B, there was one takedown attempt where Bo took a shot and there was an underhook from Cody. He launched him to the cage. Cody Brundage is very, very dangerous, and you may want some exposure in a few lineups. If you're building multiple lineups, somebody at $6,600 that does have knockout power, that can wrestle, might be worth it. If we take a look at Mansour Abdul Malik, he's a high-level wrestler, Division I. He has power in his hands. He can be dangerous. What I like about him is what we saw in his last fight. Yes, he got dropped. He got wobbled. He was almost finished by an absolute dweeb jiu-jitsu nerd, and he was priced at $9,700, and he was in a ton of trouble. But the one thing that I love there is that he recovered. He didn't panic. He didn't run away. He didn't turn. He didn't hide. He has actual fighter genes in his body where he was stumbling and bumbling, but he fired back. He recomposed himself. He ended up winning that fight. So the fact that when he was in trouble, he was able to overcome those issues is why I think he wins this fight, and that is why you might want some exposure to him in your DraftKings fantasy lineups. If I'm making between Wellmaker and Abdul Malik, who are about the same price, I'm going to go Wellmaker because Wellmaker at least has a garbage opponent. Cody Brundage is not garbage. Somebody asked me in the comment section, hey, Angelo, a year ago, you were trashing Cody Brundage. What's changed? I'll tell you what's changed. I had Zach Reese in the safety parlay when he was fighting Cody Brundage. I bought into the whole Cody's a quitter nonsense. And then Cody Brundage power bombed the safety parlay into oblivion. It lost. Everything sucked. And I was like, you know what? At the very least, this guy is insanely dangerous and he's not afraid to scrap. So there's the breakdown of that fight. Cody Brundage, there is some upside. If you're building 150 lineups and you're chasing that massive payout, you need some exposure there. If you're building one, you can throw Malik in there, but around that same price point, go get yourself a Malcolm Wellmaker. Then we have Andre Petroski taking on Edmund Shabazi in the featured fight of the evening. This is a tale of two fights. Either Andre Petroski gets the takedowns or he gets knocked out. I don't see an in-between. Andre Petroski can wrestle. He had 3 takedowns against Dylan Budka and 9 minutes and 20 seconds of control time. 3 takedowns against Josh Freeman, 13 minutes and 50 seconds. That means he spent 1 minute and 10 seconds. 1 minute and 10 seconds on the feet in a 15-minute fight. Andre Petroski has no problem choosing to be unbelievably boring. And you know what? Sometimes you need to do that because if he lost to Josh Frem, he was going to get cut. So sometimes you need to be boring to keep your job. He went from a 2-fight skid to a 3-fight win streak. This is a different fight, though, because we know Andre Petroski's chinny. We watched Michel Pereira absolutely spark him. We watched him knock himself out, shooting some weird takedown against Jacob Mulcoon's hip. But he did beat Josh Frem, not very good. He beat Dylan Budka, not very good. He beat Rodolfo Vieira, who is pretty good. He did that striking. But this is a very different fight because he's taking on Edmund Shabazian. Edmund Shabazian is a very dangerous striker with quick, fast hands and insane power. The problem is his takedown defense is not great. On the ground, not great. But on the feet, he is great. Every fight starts on the feet. Andre Petroski is not that dangerous on the ground, but he can get it there. I am hoping, expecting, leaning on Edmund Shabazian to let his hands go and make something happen. Gerald Meerschaert took him down. And it was actually a really nice takedown, and he submitted him. So this fight does concern me. But I do think Edmund Shabazian can find a knockout. Andre Petroski is a phenomenal underdog because if we go back to him, he does score well in these boring-ass wins. 77 points in a boring-ass win. 82 points in a boring-ass win because he's got the takedowns. He's got the control time. The reality is I think this fight ends in finish on either side. I'm going to slightly lean Edmund Shabazian. I don't trust him enough to spend that money. Co-main event of the evening, Rose Namajunas taking on Miranda Maverick. This is 3 rounds, not 5. That is actually my only concern for Rose here. She's so used to fighting 5-round fights that she'll gauge range. She'll take her time a little bit early. This is 3 rounds, so she's got to get after it. She's got to get after it quick. Rose Namajunas, former world champion, one of the best ever in the weight class below. She moved up in weight, has had mixed success since doing so. She lost to Manon Farrow. She lost to Erin Blanchfield. Those 2 women, one just fought for a title. The other one's probably next for a title shot. Rose Namajunas, a very good striker, an overall very well-rounded fighter. She's got the mean mug. She's all business. She doesn't care. She wears baggy fucking clothes. She doesn't care what you think about her. She's not trying to be the pretty girl. It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters to her is winning fights, and I will trust that. I will take her on her word, and I will trust that. She's taking on... I just clicked her ass again. She's taking on Miranda Maverick. Miranda Maverick, nonstop forward pressure wrestler. The problem is... her wrestling isn't as good as you need it to be a nonstop forward press wrestler. Sure, the wrestling works against people like Andrea Lee. She got Deoni Barboza down. She got Jamey Lynn Horth down after giving up a round. That was an insanely close win. You can see she was a $9,400 favorite. She scored 69 points in that win because she gave up a round and didn't have the success she thought she was going to have. In the middle of the octagon, Miranda can take you down. Against the cage, everybody's cage defense is too good at this point. Miranda's on a nice little win streak, of course, but this fight might look like the Jasmine Jasudavicius fight. She couldn't take Jasmine down. Couldn't take her down. So she ended up in a striking match, which she lost. If we take a look at Rose Namajunas, she just beat a very good grappler in Tracy Cortez and did it pretty handily. I'm going to lean Rose Namajunas here. I wish we had 5 rounds instead of 3. I don't think Rose is going to finish her. I don't think Rose is going to drop her. I think Rose just defends the takedown, jabs her up, scores really well, wins at 30-27, maybe at 29-28, and I don't think we're going to get a lot of points out of her. So Rose is the pick. Rose will not be in the lineup. If you're going to throw one of them in your lineup, Miranda Maverick's got more upside than Rose does. And then we have the main event of the evening. The sport passes people by. This is a young man sport. Right now, Joaquin Buckley is the young man. $9,000 for a 5-round fight. Somebody as dangerous, as active, as Joaquin Buckley. Yeah, he only scored 79 points in his last fight, which is crazy considering he won by TKO. But he got his hands going. He landed clean. Ultimately, a cut between rounds is what got it done. That's why it was 79 points, not a little more, because I think if you can't get off the stool, if they stop the fight between rounds, it goes to the next round instead of the round that just ended. Either way, Joaquin Buckley at this new weight class has looked unbeatable. This is him at the new weight class. Fiallo, no longer in the UFC, fine. Brandon Moreno, very unreliable. Luque, the beginning of the end for him. Ruzaboyev's a very good win. That guy is a savage beast, but it was a big weight cut there. Wonderboy was 40 years old, and he struggled with the range, but he ended up finding that knockout. Colby Covington is not who he used to be, and Colby ended up getting Joaquin down and having a little bit of success, but Joaquin had already done too much damage by then. He's taken on former world champion, all-time great. You have to put Kamaru Usman as the either best welterweight ever or the second best welterweight ever. I don't know who would be third. Like, who would be... Name two people better than him in their welterweight legacy. I guess you can go Matt Hughes. You could probably go Matt Hughes. So, all right, top three. There's no fourth. Top three. Kamaru Usman is a wrestler who turned into a striker because he admittedly has very bad knees. He's old. He's slowing down. He has 3 losses in a row. He hasn't won a fight in 4 years. But Kamaru Usman, assumingly, physically looks spectacular. I assume he's still going to be a very good fighter. He's got incredible high fight IQ. Always has. Will continue to have high fight IQ. He lost to Leon Edwards twice. First of all, I thought he won the rematch. Second of all, in the first fight, he dominated 24 minutes of it and then was knocked out. And then the Chimaev fight that was up in weight, he got off the couch on a week's notice, and he won that third round. So Kamaru Usman is a guy that could absolutely have a stunning upset here. There could be some life left. I still think Joaquin Buckley is going to be too fast, too clean, too accurate. And I'm going to take youth over age and experience. Joaquin Buckley is the pick. I probably have some exposure to him in my DraftKings lineups. $9,000. Not a ton of money, but a lot if he's only scoring 79 like he did in his last fight. Guys, that's the breakdown. I did it as quickly as humanly possible. And to thank me, go check out the damn website. The amount of time and effort that we put in making this the best product on planet Earth, I promise you, shows. It shows. Go to WeWantPicks.com. Check it all out. We have the event simulator. We have the DraftKings optimizer. If you care, we have the post-mortem. This populates after the event so you can see what could have been. You can see what was the winning lineup, and it can help guide you to making your own. We also have picks. We have bets. We have an artificial intelligence, a ton of stuff. It's only $10. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top.